Oh. Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are having an absolutely wonderful day so far. Welcome to the third episode here of the Internet Morning Entreprayneur. Basically, we're going to go along with what we've been doing. We're going to talk about what I'm doing to try to make things work. We're going to be sipping some coffee here. It's going to be a good time. Okay, so I think one of the things that I said I was going to show you guys yesterday was the first thing that I had ever sent to that radio station that was able to kind of help me build that connection. So basically, I'd reached out because we were talking about we being the commercial construction company that I used to work for. We were talking about doing TV ads, which I really didn't think it was a good idea. It was extremely expensive. And but I did look up the cost of radio ads, and I wanted to just run a radio ad. So I sent in a advertisement that I literally just wanted to run personally for myself. And here's the response. She said, "James, I think what you want to do is very nice. However, it does not fall into the station guidelines, so we cannot help you. Keep spreading love and have a great day." So I said, "Lame, I'll keep searching. Thanks anyway and have a great day." But this is how it all started, so let me see if I can make my audio come through, the desktop audio here. Let's see, does this work? Nope. Does not work. Let me see if I can get my desktop mixer to go here. Oh, maybe it's just turned down. Let's see here. What's up, everybody? My name is James Goss, and I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day so far. I recently found out that it cost about $700 to put an ad on the radio, so I thought no better way to spend half a paycheck than to spread a little joy and kindness. So, if your day's going a little bit rough, think about those that are out there that love you. And if you can't think of anybody out there that loves you, then guess what? It's me. I love you. So get out there now and spread a little bit of joy and kindness of your own. And if you want to help fund the next uplifting ad, you can send me a Venmo or a PayPal at Uplifting Ads. Well, so that's what I tried to do. And obviously, I wasn't trying to make anything off of that. And I don't really know. Maybe that's why it got denied. Maybe you have to be selling something for your business or something like that. I really don't know. I really have no idea. But anyway, so that did get denied. And but it's funny because that really did open up the relationship. And I think it just made her way more inclined to want to work with me in the future. So when I approached her about doing an ad for American Exteriors, she was definitely friendly, don't get me wrong. It's not like this was like a huge, mind-blowing game changer. But she was definitely excited when I said, oh, yeah, well, I guess, it's different than my first one I tried to run. She's like, oh, what was the first one? Because I sent her this email from, or this ad from my personal email. And then, of course, when I was looking to do for American Exteriors, I sent it through the American Exteriors email. So I'm sure she gets a lot of emails. She didn't know it was the same person. Then when we met in person, she was tickled pink that it was the same guy that had sent that, and she's like, oh, well, maybe you can incorporate that into your ad. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. And I definitely try to, and I definitely have a little bit. Anyway, so we didn't actually ever end up running ads. I know, like I mentioned, the owner of that company ended up passing away. It was a whole thing, but they had offered what I thought was a good deal of, they offered free advertisement if we just did a small job for them. I thought it was a great plan, but anyway, doesn't matter. I think I touched on that yesterday. Never happened, but I did approach her about doing an AM radio show, and I sent her some of my content from the YouTube channel, which you probably know needs some serious improvement. But all in due time. But anyway, so I was able to do the AM radio show, and I really do think that that is why I was able, why she was so open to me doing it. Here it is one more time for you. What's up, everybody? My name is James Goss, and I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day so far. I recently found out that it cost about $700 to put an ad on the radio, so I thought no better way to spend half a paycheck than to spread a little joy and kindness. So, if your day's going a little bit rough, think about those that are out there that love you. And if you can't think of anybody out there that loves you, then guess what? It's me. I love you. So get out there now and spread a little bit of joy and kindness of your own. And if you want to help fund the next uplifting ad, you can send me a Venmo or a PayPal at Uplifting Ads. So there you have it. That's what we did, and that's what I did. I always say we as if there's many, many of me, but there is only one, as you can probably tell from the quality of this content. But anyway, so I think a couple things that I want to touch on today. I've obviously this weekend I've got the live popping going on. I want to pull up a couple of pictures here if I can. I'm actually going to have to go grab my cell phone, which I believe is charging, but I'm going to go grab a couple of pictures here because I want you to see what I'm working on right now. So give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Get some natural light in here. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if this lighting is better or worse, but probably doesn't matter, does it? So, okay. So a couple photos I want to show you. I want to show you the little stand I've been working on. So what I will do is I will email them to myself. Josie agreed. You hear that? She's like, mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll go ahead and email them to myself so we can see what I'm talking about. By the way, as you probably know, yesterday I sent that advertisement out to the farm stand that I had gone to, or big orchard market that I went to. No dice from them. I haven't heard anything yet. It's funny. Probably the last 3 or 4 emails that I've sent. I mean, normally I do pretty good. Like, when I send emails like that, I at the very least get a response. But I've struck out on like the past 3 or 4, like, kind of sending long shot emails, or like, really hoping something was going to come out of an email. I guess you just kind of win some and you lose some. And I've just been definitely on a losing streak. I'm sure it'll turn around at some point, but yeah, it's kind of crazy how that goes, and right now, stuff's not coming through for me, so that's that. Let's see what we got here. So basically what I'm going to show you, Oh my goodness, my doggy is so grumbly. The most grumbly dog on earth. So I'm going to see if I can find what I was working on and what I'm trying to do. Do, 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 do. Okay. Whatever. Photos. Let's add some more in here. Let's add one more so you can get a general idea. Whatever. Okay, so back to the inbox here. Then we'll refresh that. Yeah, okay. Now let's change my source here. Window capture. Lovely, lovely. Okay. So there's the that's what the kettle corn stand looks like on the roadside. And then that's, I've got a pretty main road. There's the signs that I set up. There's the puppies that you hear in the background. But that sign basically immediately broke. So you see that I have that this kettle corn sign right here. That's still somewhat intact. But that thing, that pallet sign busted pretty freaking quickly. Here's the, the shed was still a work in progress. Literally, this is a shed that came at the house. I painted the inside. I prettied it up. Still don't have shelves. My whole plan was like, oh, I'm going to take some shelves. I'm going to, do a whole thing. And unfortunately, I haven't even had the time to do the shelves yet. And I don't even think that I've got a sale out of the self-serve, out of the self-serve stand yet. But that's what the goal for that is. And what I've been doing is every person that comes to buy, I try to let them know, hey, I'm going to have popcorn in the stand all the time. And as the season progresses, I'm going to hopefully be having, produce and honey and eggs and whatever else. And really try to grow a source of income right here at my house because, I'm getting to the point where I really, really need a, solid source of income. I've been waiting on the contractor license to come through. I've been waiting on all this stuff to come through. And I'm kind of just at the point where, like, okay, I'm scraping at the very bottom of the barrel of money right now. And, something's got to come through for me that can keep me floating so that I can be successful. If not, then I'm going to have to bite the bullet and, take some kind of a 9-to-5 just to supplement until I can get back into business ownership and doing that type of stuff. But I'm not there yet. I've got some time, and it is what it is. But I do need to start building something and growing something that is going to earn legitimate income in a decent amount of time. Now the good thing is popcorn season starts mid-June. Like the wholesale orders will start coming in mid-June, and that's great. Because it's almost mid-June, so that should definitely keep me going, and it really shouldn't be a problem. And that's going to give me the opportunity to continue to do this show, continue to tell you guys what I'm up to. I hope people at some point, I hope this becomes an interactive thing where people can tell me what they're doing, and we can talk through things. So another thing that I wanted to get into is the signage, like basically how I'm trying to promote this. basically all I did was I got on eBay or Amazon, and I ordered like these blank, like the political yard signs that you see. Um, well, I ordered blank signs for that. I literally just printed off, off of Google Docs. I just made a big thing that said kettle corn, and then I mark it on there how far away the kettle corn is. So on one side it's 2 miles, the other side's 3 miles, or 2.5 miles on one side, 3 miles on the other side. And there's been a couple people that stopped because of the signs. Then I have a big yard sign. I won't send that photo to myself, but I will show you. And honestly, I mean, we've been doing pretty good. Like, there's the sign there. So that's right in front of my driveway. Little kettle corn sign. And that's really, there's a ton of looks. I mean, nearly everybody that drives down the road happens to see that sign. And, they look. So that's what, if you can see that, the sign is at the end of the driveway. There's a pretty well-traveled road. It's still just a 2-lane road, but it's very busy. And then, of course, there's the stand set up there. And so I try to tell everybody that comes up, like, hey, I'm going to be putting popcorn in that stand, and we're going to be doing more. I've also got that QR code video that I added onto the bags. And in that QR code video, I do mention the stand. When I listened to it back a couple times, I was like, man, I wish that I would have hit talking about that stand a little bit more. But since it is still not very well stocked as far as other products except for kettle corn, I'm not going to worry too much about pushing it, because I think I can do a better job of pulling that together. But I do want people to know that it exists and that it's going to be a thing as we move forward. So it's at least a start, and I think we have some definite potential there. So I guess I can go into some other things that I have tried and am somewhat currently trying to do. My brother and I started an ATM distributor business. This is something that I wanted to do, and I actually made a video on it. I don't think I've posted the video yet because I haven't put an ATM out in the world yet, so it seems kind of silly to put a video up of how to do it. But at least I have the general process of how to get set up. At least I have that. But anyway, so my brother and I, we did start, an ATM company. It was pretty easy to start. And then ball just kind of got dropped on that, like 90% of the way there. All we need now is somebody to say, hey, put an ATM in here. But we haven't gotten to that point yet. But, I'm trying to think as I go along here and I do this show, because I've tried so many different ventures. And, like I said, and I think the first show, I have like 10 different LLCs on my business profile, and really only one is actively making me any money. And the rest of them, just fell by the wayside. And I think that's okay. Like, that definitely happens. I imagine there's a lot of people out there with the same kind of entrepreneurial mindset that I have. And, you're going to kind of just be trying things as you go and figuring out what is and isn't for you. Now, of course, I didn't go to school. Well, I did. I got a 1-year certificate. But, take that for what it's worth. I know a lot of people that went to business school, and it was like, you have a bit of an easier run on it, I guess, because you have a, base understanding of how things need to go and, how things are supposed to run. But I still think there's a huge amount of value in just kind of learning on your own. And, I've done pretty well, like, doing a side hustle and then working a 9 to 5 and learning on my own, and then feeling comfortable enough that, like, hey, I can go out and I can do this. So that's definitely been good. So, I mean, it's all a process, and it will definitely be building up as we go here. Um, One of the things I'll talk about on this episode, because it's just me talking to me, um, is I want to talk about how to grow this show. Basically, I am doing the AM radio show. That's once every month. I'd like to increase that to more than once a month. Um, but, we'll see how that plays out, if I can finagle that. Um, and, I'm getting to the point where I need to deliver this content. Like, I bet you my next show is going to be, somewhere around the neighborhood of June 15th, whatever the closest Saturday to June 15th is going to be when that show is. I still haven't sat down with another entrepreneur and been able to talk to them. And I've sent out a bunch of feelers. I've got a couple people, but they're like, really good guests. And again, I kind of just want to dial in my interviewing style and my style of just being on any type of air at all. And so as I go through, I'm hoping to kind of ramp up, the type and not necessarily that I had a low caliber guests on or anything like that, but there's some like pretty decent sized entrepreneurial like players in the game that said that they would be on the show. But I want to kind of hold off on that. And so I need to find an entrepreneur that's like, definitely doing really well in their space, but one that I feel comfortable enough that like, I'm not going to waste this hour interview, with somebody really important and not get enough value for the listeners. Also, if people are going to take their time to come on and be interviewed, I'd like for me to be able to build an audience so that can actually get out to people and be valuable to people. Whereas right now, it would be great for me. I would certainly love to interview and talk to these people and see how they're doing it, but that ain't working. So one of the things that I want to do to, increase viewership of the show is something I struggle with constantly, and that is like promoting on social media. I really don't like promoting myself on my own personal social medias. I don't have a problem, like, if it's an Instagram that's like, Internet Morning Entreprayneur, like maybe I need to make an Instagram for this show. Maybe I need to make a Facebook for the show, because I don't have a problem. Like, if it's people that stumble across me on the internet, then that's awesome. And not to say that I'm necessarily embarrassed about this, but I think it's just more the type of thing of like, it's hard to throw yourself, like, your friends don't, I don't know, like, I don't want my friends to feel like they have to support me because you see like, oh, you've got 0 viewers. It's sad. It's like lame. And so getting over that mental hurdle of like, I need to promote this show because, of course, I need people to be listening to the show for this to be valuable, for this to do what it's supposed to do, which is, start an open discussion, help entrepreneurs, help us all grow and learn. Obviously there has to be other entrepreneurs on here and other people that want to grow into the best versions of themselves. They have to be tuned in as well. So I got to figure out a way to attract an audience to this show. And, probably in the beginning here, we'll be talking a lot about what I'm doing in my businesses, how I'm trying to make them work. And I'll be documenting the process of getting some additional viewers on here. And maybe the first step in that is really to hit socials a lot harder. And so maybe that will entail like, my YouTube channel, Escaping the Neon. That, to me, I have no problem like, pushing this stuff out there, because it's not like, 1,000 of my friends from high school that I'm pushing this out to, like, oh yeah, come check me out. Like I don't like that kind of self-promotion. And I think it's kind of, I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of it. But I don't have a problem, if you stumble across this naturally or organically, or however you want to say it, if you stumble across this and you're like, oh wow, this is, could provide value. Those are the people that I want to talk to. Those are the people that I want as my, viewership, my audience, not just like, pity views basically, because that doesn't do anybody any good. Oh Jesus, that scared me. All right, we got some crazy dogs in here. Yep, crazy. You crazy, Keela. Yep. So, anyway, if anybody ever happens to watch this, feel free to drop a comment in here on like kind of what you'd like to see on the show. There's a couple of aspects of this that I really need to dial in, and I think it's just a matter of like, I can sit around for months and months, and I've wanted to do, something. I've wanted to do something like this for a long time. Obviously, I enjoy talking, and I really do want to provide value and be helpful. And for other people who are where I was when I was 18, 19, thinking like, how in the world do I get into this world of entrepreneurship, and how do I start a business and become self-sustainable? I really want to be valuable to those people, and I've thought about doing something like this for a long time, and I think I just got kind of stuck in like, well, how is this going to be, number one, valuable, number two, entertaining? What are people going to want to tune in for? And I totally get that right now. I have no idea what people are going to want to tune in for, because this is relatively boring. I've got my dogs barking in the background, and I'm not providing that much value. So I think it's one of those things where I have to just start. I have to make this a daily routine. I have to do this every single day, Monday through Friday, and then live stream on the weekends as well when I'm doing the popcorn. And I think that can actually bring some viewership in. And as I go, I really do want this to be also a form of entertainment, right? Like, this has to be fun to watch. This has to be engaging for whoever's listening on the other end. And I think that's going to play into like, some kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road right now, because I haven't fully dialed in the direction I'm going to go with like making this like a fun and interactive thing. I really hope that the chats can be active, and I really hope that we can have some open discussion and puppies. But and I hope that we can kind of build a community and all work together. Like, if somebody has a question, I hope there's a good bit of entrepreneurs that are able to help, and that's what I'm trying to build here. But yeah, I think it's going to be a long road, but I think it is one of those things where you really do have to just kind of, start doing it every day, and then just kind of let the pieces fall where they may. And, I could be back here May 25th of 2024, and I could have, 100 viewers, or I could still be at 0. And, but either way, I imagine I'll still be doing it. It's something that I really have wanted to do for a long time, and I think it's fun. So that's that. So I think what I'll do is I'll tell the story of when I first started, like my first thought of like, okay, you know what? My poor dog. You know what? Like I was working a manual labor 9 to 5. Again, I always say 9 to 5, but it was over 40 hours a week for sure. And it was probably like 5:30 to 4, something like that particular job. And basically I was working for this guy. I really did like the guy. I still have a relationship with him. He actually came out and he put the pad down for that shed that I showed you guys earlier. He made a little parking area so people can go to that little self-serve stand. Still a good dude, but anyway, I worked for him, and basically, I guess the time we were starting was like 6 o'clock. We were supposed to be there at 6 a.m. And I had been getting there at like 6:02, 6:03. And, but the thing was, really, everybody, there was like 7 employees that worked there at the time when I was there. All basically truck drivers and laborers. We all basically drove trucks. And and I'd been showing up at like 6:02, and I'm a kid, but still not, that's no excuse at all. But anyway, whatever. So I'm showing up at 6:02, trying to get there at 6, but I was definitely, but I was never like crazy late. It was always like 6:02, 6:03 at the absolute latest. And but we'd all sit in the shop there until at least 6:30, and everybody's just talking about how their evening was, blah blah blah, getting ready for the day, sitting around hanging out. It would take at least until 6:30 to get to the trucks, hit the road for the day, and actually get going. Well, I showed up at 6:02, and like again, this wasn't necessarily a constant thing by any means. It was pretty rare, but it did happen. And I showed up 2 minutes late, and I think my boss had just woken up on the wrong side of the bed, and he was extremely upset. And he basically said, like, if you show up at 6:02 another time, I'm gonna dock you an hour of pay because you got to be here at 6 o'clock. We start at 6 o'clock. You get here at 6:02. I'm docking you an hour of pay if you show up at 6:02 again. And so I got in the truck, and I was pissed off. I really, like everyone, I guess, really dislike. You know, it just seems like like a lack of I don't know. It's not a lack of respect, I guess, but when you get yelled at, you're just kind of frustrated, and you're like, F this guy, F this. And so I was definitely going through that F this, F that. 6:02. Nobody even started till 6:30. I haven't affected the workday at all, and 6 o'clock in the morning. So I was salty about that, and I started looking it up, like, because I'm thinking to myself, there's no way you can dock an hour's worth of pay because I'm 2 minutes late. Maybe you can subtract, whatever 2 minutes is out of my $16 an hour, whatever I was making, $15 an hour, I don't know. But, maybe you can subtract 2 minutes worth of pay out of that 60 minutes. But I'm like, there's no way you can dock an hour. Well, I start looking it up because I'm that guy. And turns out you definitely can do that. And I was just like, this is craziness. And I was like, you know what? I cannot live my life like this. Like, I can't have somebody controlling my fate like that. I mean, it just like, it made me sick to like the pit of my stomach. And looking back, I realized it really had nothing to do with the 2 minutes or the 6:02 or anything like that. It really was the fact that like he had ultimate control over my days, ultimate control over my life, essentially. If I wanted to take off, if I needed to spend the day with my family, or I was going on a vacation or whatever it was, I wasn't allowed to do any of that without checking with somebody first. And to me, like, I understand that is a normal thing. Like, that's just called having a job. But I just think there's some type of like fundamental flaw going on there. Like, that does not make sense in my brain. I should never, like, nobody should be running my life, and nobody should be running your life except for you. Like, if I want to take a 3-month vacation and not do a damn thing, I feel like it's my human right to be able to do that. Now, like, I understand this dude's running a business. Now that I run businesses, I totally get it. I totally understand why, like, you're planning on having 6 guys. You can't always tell them they can have off because you got things scheduled and they've agreed to work for you and do that. And I get that. And, now that I'm older, I can understand that at the very least, as to why it's a necessity. And for some people that's okay. It doesn't really bother them. I was just not one of those people. And I was just like, you know what? I can't continue down this road of building this life that is essentially like, not only am I letting somebody else control my day-to-day activities down to the minute, literally down to the minute, right? And, so not only am I letting somebody control my life down to the minute, and I'm taking flack, as what I felt as an adult. I mean, technically, I guess you are an adult when you're 18, 19, you're probably not really an adult, sorry, but but still, as technically an adult, I'm letting somebody else hound me and get on my case about 2 minutes, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, I'm a little too happy-go-lucky to be yelled at over 2 minutes, and I just couldn't stand it. And so again, now I do get it. I understand why, but there's just no possible way that I could continue down that road. So it still took me a long time. I'm talking years after that to finally be able to go off on my own and say, all right, I'm comfortable enough to, start my own business and make this my only form of income. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm obviously still struggling. I am not making a killing. I'm not knocking it out of the park. I'm making enough to get by and to live and to pay my mortgage and to pay my bills. And that's awesome. Like, I have a freedom that a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know, they don't have. And, but people think I'm crazy as hell. Like, there's a lot of people that are working 9 to 5s that are like, they just don't understand why I would want to do this. And like, to them, like, I'm putting myself under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress because I don't necessarily know, how this is going to play out. It's not like I'm guaranteed to win or anything like that. But for me, it's kind of like I'm not guaranteed to win, but the odds are in my favor. Basically, if I continue down the road that I'm on, like, I can tell that there's good things, coming up. Basically, like, I'm pretty certain of that. And but it's just the entrepreneur's life, and it's one of those things where a great quote that I heard was, either you're working towards your own dreams or you're getting paid to work towards somebody else's. And that really resonated with me really well, because it's so true. It's like, I have my own big dreams, my own big ambitions, and my own goals. I don't want to work towards building somebody else's, because mine are going to take a long time to accomplish. So, I better get on it now. And another thing, working in these manual labor jobs, like, obviously I wasn't able to leave the workforce or, working for somebody else for a long time after that incident happened. But one of the things that I kept in the back of my mind, and like, honestly, was like a genuine fear of mine, especially when I ended up at the parks doing county work. I saw these guys that have been working there for 35 years. They basically capped out. We were maintenance workers. So, and again, like, there's nothing against this life. There's nothing against being a maintenance worker, anything like that. If that suits you and your lifestyle, then that's awesome, and more power to you. But for me, I saw these guys who had been working there for 30 plus years, doing the exact same thing, mowing the exact same fields every day for 30 years. I mean, or at least every week for 30 years. And I'm just like, I just couldn't do it. Like, it literally terrified me, because like, to them, like, they're happy as a clam. You get good retirement, and the health insurance is great, and there's a lot of positives to having a job like that. But to me, it's just like, I need some action. I need things to be different. I need to constantly feel like I'm growing. Like, you can only, like, monetarily, you could grow and expand a little bit. And like, in theory, you got a small raise every year. So by the time you retired, you could be pulling in, like, as a maintenance worker, you could be pulling like 80 grand or something like that. And that was like absolute maximum ceiling. And like 80 grand, I'm not hating on necessarily. I mean, 80 grand is fine. And, depending on what you want to do, but like, it just wasn't for me. And it was something that, like, it wasn't the money that really steered me away from it. It was the monotony of, like, I just can't do the same thing every day for the next 30 years and then be, 65 when it's time to retire. And then, like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, then I don't know. Then you're supposed to go enjoy your retirement, I guess. But to me, it's like, if I don't have a side hustle, you see so many people, they retire at 65 and then, like, basically they're dead after that, because it's like, you stop focusing on something, you stop using, I don't want to say you stop using your brain, but like, because a lot of these, like, at that job, I hate to say it, but you weren't really using your brain too much there either. You weren't problem solving or figuring things out. You were just starting a lawnmower and mowing. And, I don't mean to be hateful, and I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. Like, manual labor, 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way your personality works, but that's not the way that my personality works at all. And it was driving me absolutely insane, to the point where, like, I left that job probably earlier than I should have, because my side hustle had taken off well enough that I was comfortable that I was going to be able to do fine. And like, and that was pushing it for me because like I just knew I had to leave. I knew I didn't like it, and it was scary to see these guys who have been there for 30 years because I'm like, you know, I'm not that far away from being that guy who does the same thing for 30 years, and I'm so terrified of being that guy and, you know, getting stuck in that same thing every day. It just terrified me, and I had to get out of there as quick as I possibly could, and so I did. But you know, now it's just one of those things where like, okay, here we are in the deep end. We don't have any floaties. You know, there's nobody that's going to be helping us here. You know, it's sink or swim. So, you know, I'd say I'm treading water. I'm not sinking. I'm not necessarily swimming either. But, you know, we're doing okay. We're getting it done as we can do. So I think some of the things that I'd like to do here, I want to show you how I do cold outreach. I've had like maybe not like a huge amount of success with cold outreach, but I've done pretty good, you know, all things considered. So I want to show you guys a little bit of how I do this cold outreach. I probably won't do it on this episode. We're already like 45 minutes in, but tomorrow's Friday. I will be live streaming the popcorn when that happens, but I will also do the morning show tomorrow. Sorry for the pups. They are just super grumbly. They're stuck in the room here. They want my wife to come home. But anyway, so yeah, we'll go into a little bit of cold outreach, and I'll figure out, like, I don't know if I'm going to do cold outreach for the popcorn. Like I said, I do have a couple of other businesses that I'm also simultaneously working on. And it's kind of hard to explain them because it's like all of these things started with something so small and have like grown over the course of, you know, however many years. And like now I feel like I'm so close to being able to earn money off of these, like, you know, side projects, if you will, but I'm still just not there yet. There was this one is like really, really near and dear to my heart, super important to me, and I really want to make this work. And I think it's kind of funny, like, you know, the universe, I just think kind of will, I don't know, kind of mess with you a little bit. But one of the big things that I have always wanted to do, and this started with, like, you know, my first job when I was selling organic produce. I was in DC, and I was driving through DC. I was in a Sprinter van. I'd already finished the farmer's market. I was coming back home. I needed fuel, so I stopped at this gas station, and it was like a rougher area for sure, and you know, it just looked kind of like run down a little bit. And I went in this gas station. There's this woman in there with her two real young kids. And of course, I paid for the fuel, and I was walking out of the gas station, and these kids are walking in, and this mother says to him, "All right, pick your dinner." And the one kid went and got ramen noodles, you know, cup of noodles. The other kid went and got a honey bun, and that was their dinner. And it just like, that moment always sticks in my head because I'm like, I had this entire van, you know, still, I'd already sold some, but like there was still plenty to come back. And, you know, I had this whole van full of produce, and I was just like, this is terrible. Like, you know, the people that I sold to at this market could afford this, you know, fresh nutrition right from the farm. This is good stuff, right? But, you know, these people, they're buying ramen and honey buns, not necessarily because that's what they want to eat, but because they're like $1.50. And, it just tore me up, and I was leaving there, and I was like, this is just, you know, I got to find a way to be able to get fresh food to the people that need it the most, not the people that I'm selling to currently. Like, they can go to the store in, you know, DC or whatever, and they can buy, you know, whatever nutrition, whatever they need from wherever. But, you know, the people that are buying honey buns and ramen at the gas station, those are the people that really are the ones that are in need of this produce, and I got to find a way to get it to them, and I don't care whether they can pay for it or not. We got to get it to them. So ever since then, I've been working on trying to do that. And so eventually, when I got into the commercial renovation side of things, and I was still working in DC, I started like having to do a lot of stuff on the rooftops of buildings. So we'd go up, you know, it was always an awesome view. And I saw that like every single rooftop was basically just gravel. They were just unused spaces for the most part. Some of them would have like a small little patio area for the residents, but 9 times out of 10, you had some HVAC units on the top, you know, and like some mechanical stuff up there. But for the most part, just totally bare, blank, unused space. Had gravel on top of it and like a rubberized coating underneath of that gravel, or a rubber membrane. And it dawned on me that, like, you know what? There should be a garden on each and every single one of these rooftops. This is wasted space. There's no reason not to have a garden here. So that was when I really, you know, got that idea of this is what I want to do. I pondered that. I thought about that for years and years and years. And finally, you know, and of course I wrote things and business plans and how I was going to make it work. Still definitely lacking the funds to be able to do that, though. And, you know, be able to actually pull that off. And anyway, so, you know, just by random chance, I met somebody who was looking, you know, they worked with homeless veterans, and they were looking to buy produce from a couple of farms, and they got my number because they knew I sold kettle corn to the orchards and to farm markets. And they were like, hey, can you, you know, we heard you might be able to set us up with some farmers. So I did do that. I set them up with a good bit of farmers, but I also said, like, you know, this is awesome. I love doing charity, and I really want to find a way to make this rooftop garden thing work. And so that was awesome. Like, for like 2 months there, I mean, that was like some of the most exciting times I've had as an entrepreneur, because I was working with this company. They were super excited about it. They was a good sized tech company. They had a charity side of this tech company, and they were like, hey, we want to move forward with this rooftop garden thing. So basically what they offered was like, hey, we'll have you set up just a regular garden, and you know, you can start building a program, and you can kind of test the waters. You know, they had just bought a place just to, you know, kind of like a halfway house, if you will, for homeless veterans. And they wanted to test the garden thing there. And, you know, and then they talked about getting more land, and they wanted to, you know, provide for as many people, and they were going to finance it. And it was awesome. And so I was working with this lady, and she was over the moon. She said, like, hey, if you can find more land, you know, we want to move forward with this. So, of course, I started calling my people that I knew from the parks department, because I knew that, you know, just from working there, I knew they had acres and acres and acres of open available land that there was nothing was being done with it. I'm like, let's do something valuable with this. So I reached out to them. I set up meetings, and, you know, they were all excited about it. They were totally in. Yeah, I know, Josie. I know. But they were totally in. They were ready. And it just totally fell off. Like, I have no idea what happened. The lady I was working with through the tech company, she was super excited. She was like, all right, you know, we're going to talk in 2 weeks. Didn't hear anything back from her. And this was, like, at this point, it's been like 2.5 months probably now. And so I ended up reaching out to the original guy who had contacted me about, you know, finding the farmers for them. And I was like, hey, like, you know, I've set up all these meetings. I talked to the parks. They would love to move forward with this. They think it's a good idea. You know, what's going on with this lady? And he was like, oh, well, we actually are restructuring the charity side of things. And so, you know, you'll hear something back. Like, we're really interested in your idea. You'll hear something back in like 2 or 3 weeks when we do this restructuring. Of course, I never heard anything back. I did reach out a couple times again, trying to make, you know, something happen and just touch base, like, hey, you know, I've got these awesome meetings that happened, and, you know, I'm ready to move forward whenever you guys are ready to move forward. Still haven't heard anything. So it's one of those things where I feel like, you know, the universe will kind of dangle a carrot in front of you and be like, here's what could be, get you all excited, and then, you know, but it's never that easy. You know, I said when I was telling people about this, I got a real good friend who's worked with me through a lot of, like, you know, a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff I've been trying to do. And, you know, when I was telling her about it, I'm like, hey, you know, this sounds awesome, but it really does seem like one of those things where, like, this was too easy. There's no way it's going to work out as well as these people are telling me it's going to work out. and boom, maybe it's because I lost faith in it. Not that I lost faith, but I was just like, this is just too easy. And so anyway, long and short is she just fell off the map. I haven't heard anything back. That's something that I really hope starts again, and I'm still going to be forever pushing to try to make these rooftop garden things happen. And I really want to stay in this space of, working with farmers, and, hopefully I can still put something like this together. But I do think it's one of those things where, like, the universe will dangle a carrot in front of you and be like, here, this is what could be. And, you want it desperately. But, I think it's just kind of like something that you have to be tested on, and you have to, like, you got to keep pushing forward, and you can't lose the motivation. If it doesn't work out the first couple times you tried, then you got to keep going. And one of the companies that I started, actually, when I sold my first company, basically I worked with a business partner, a buddy of mine, and we had a freight logistics company, and we didn't end up seeing eye to eye on that. So he bought me out of that company. As soon as he bought me out of that, I was like, all right, you know what? Now's my time. I'm going for the rooftop gardens. This is what I'm really passionate about. It's what I want to do. I'm going after it. So I started a company called Skyline Thrive, and I did a bunch of stuff towards that. I built the business plans, everything like that. But really, what it comes down to is there's a huge monetary involvement that you have to be able to get this going. And I, at that point in my life, I just couldn't pull it off. And it's sad to even say out loud, because it's like something that I want to make work so badly. But that's just kind of the way that it goes, and I'm faithful that it's still going to come through at some point, and I'll be able to make this work. But I think things kind of come to you in the time when they're supposed to, and I guess that wasn't the time. So that's the story of the rooftop gardens, and at least that's where we stand now. Now I met a bunch of awesome farmers, and I started reaching out to people, and that's been great. I've made some awesome connections, so I do feel like when the time is right, I'll be able to hit the ground running, and I'll be able to actually pull this off and get it together. But the time's not right now, so I got to keep pushing forward on that. I've also got a couple other things going on, like, I think the term like serial entrepreneur is used like way too much now. And I don't even know if I could necessarily say I'm a serial entrepreneur, because, I try a bunch of things, but like such a small percentage of them works out. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm a serial failure. But, so another thing that I am working on, I've got a spot in Pennsylvania that's got like 60 acres, and through this rooftop gardening thing, I met a kid that had just got a degree in horticulture, and he's super excited about, farming and all this and that. So hopefully we're going to be able to turn that place into, my goal was to do like an Airbnb there, which you'll see I have videos on my channel about. I'm still renovating that thing. It's been a year. I've been doing all that on my own, renovating that farmhouse. And hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to start using the fields and growing produce there and getting it into the hands of people that need it. And then that really flows into another thing that I really want to get into, I touched on yesterday, which is the canning side of things, and, canning fresh produce and getting it in markets. I love that type of stuff, and that's, what I really hope to be able to do in the long term. And hopefully it will be able to earn me a good bit of income, and actually make some impacts on people that actually need it. So that's kind of where I'm at today. Basically, what I'm going to do, I've got a smaller wholesale order. It's 30 bags. And the lady wanted to start selling. She's doing like a yard sale thing. But like when I say yard sale, this lady has like an enormous shop. So it's not like your hairy homeowner yard sale. It's more of a flea market than a yard sale, I guess. But she's been buying popcorn since I moved here, because my neighbor is her employee, and of course, he saw me stirring the popcorn. He said, I'm gonna bring my boss's wife a bag. And she, I guess, ended up really loving it, so she's been buying it for a long time. Now she's doing these really big flea markets, and she wants to sell the popcorn, so she's like, we'll try 30 bags. And so anyway, her market's going to open Friday, Saturday, so I want to get this to her by Friday morning. So today is Thursday, so I'll probably go ahead and pop today. I'll get those 30 bags done, and then what I think I'll do is I will just go ahead and do another flavor, because then I'll have two flavors instead of just kettle corn when I'm really pushing it on the roadside Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll pop, and the thing is, I can't switch flavors mid pop, because basically the flavor I'm going to do today is called Be My Sweet Tart. It's a sugar glazed, and then it's got a salt and vinegar powder over it. And so basically I need to do that, because when I dump the popcorn into the tray, if I put salt and vinegar powder in the tray, I really can't switch back to kettle corn again without it being covered in salt and vinegar powder from the tray. So it's really one of those things where without washing the tray out completely and cleaning it again, I can't switch back to kettle corn. So, but I can switch from kettle corn to the Be My Sweet Tart. So today I'm going to do my 30 wholesale bags. I'll set up on the side of the road, and then I will switch to the Be My Sweet Tart, and I'll probably, I don't know, I'll probably end up popping 50-ish bags of kettle corn, so that I have some available for the day as I pop the Be My Sweet Tart. And then I'll probably do, 25 to 30-ish bags of the Sweet Tart, so I have this other flavor. So then when people come up and say, hey, what do you got? As of now, I've had to say, I just do kettle corn, or I'm just doing kettle corn for now. But now I can be like, hey, I've got to Be My Sweet Tart. And also, that will give me, it'll give me a good post to put out there, when I post on the Facebook groups, for my town, and I post on an app called Nextdoor, and I post on Reddit. And so when I post on there, at least it's not my third weekend in a row of being like, hello, I'm popping kettle corn on the side of the road, please come by. At least I can be like, hey, I've got another flavor now, so maybe people will be interested in that. Another thing I want to do, I went to this popcorn place, it's called the Popcorn House, and literally their bag was less than 1/3 the size of my bag. They're selling it for 50 cents more than I sell my regular size bag for. And I want to put a post out about that, but I keep going back and forth as to whether I should just call them out and be like, look at this, they're charging $8.50 for this teeny little bag. You're getting this bag for $8. It's way better hand stirred and it's fresh. But I don't know if I really want to go down that road of attacking other businesses and being like, oh, they're way overcharging for this. So we'll see if I make a post about that. But anyway, I think what I'll do at this point, I will go out there, I'll get everything prepped for the popcorn. I probably will try to come back and do a live stream of actually popping the popcorn, and I'm assuming since it's Thursday, I'm probably not going to get a huge amount of people stopping by. I think people are much more inclined to stop on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as opposed to today when you got probably just a bunch of traffic, people going to work and coming back from work, and they don't really feel like stopping. But we'll see. And, what's the worst that's going to happen is, I'll do my wholesale order and I won't get that many sales. So anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed. If anybody ever comes across this, drop a comment in there. But, anyway, I hope you all have a great day. And I will probably be back live streaming. If I can figure it out, I'm going to have to do it from my phone because, like I said, my laptop is basically a desktop at this point because I can't unplug it from the wall. So, it'll be fun to see how we can pull that off, and it'll be a good test for, the rest of the weekend where I do plan on live streaming. And again, I will be coming back on Friday, and I'll do the morning show Friday, and then we'll be out in the driveway popping the rest of the day. So anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed. I hope this has given you a little food for thought, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you so much. You have yourself a wonderful day.